Hey guys, Rob with RubberToe Assembly here with another 20 by 8 lifetime shed video. Today we're going to show you the best way to do the gables on this. And here we go with the large entry gable, which will be your side entry, your side doors, the one there with the bar as you see. And then the other side gable is without the bar because you're not going to have doors on the other side. So there I'm opening the vents that were going to be installed on each gable. The one there with the bar, it looks like it's already together. And the one that's two pieces is also there. I'm going to put those together with 4 screws. And everything's laid out nice and easy. That's your third gable, which is going to be on the long side, which will be your front gable. And the doors that are going to go on this front entry gable there are going to be just the same doors, but the poles are going to be shorter because, as you can see, that gable right there, their front gable, is smaller than the one there that's in 2 pieces up to the top right there. Anyways, this is how you put that bar on your header bar to the front entry gable. And as you can see, the hole there in the middle is just a little bit to the right. When your door's shut, there's going to be a deadbolt that locks up into the top and to the bottom into the flooring. Here are the 4 screws that you put in. These are very hard to put in. I just push real firmly and give it a quick couple of turns there, either with a screwdriver, maybe a few more turns, but with the drill gun set on low, I just push real firmly with a solid base underneath and they will go in nice and easy. See how my thumb and my hand was holding it all together, pressing firmly, and then bingo, it's on. Nice, because they barely give you enough room for those screws. Anyways, just shimmying up here, cutting off some of the excess plastic that's on the edges here. I have another video called Do This First video that shows all these pieces where, as you see here, I'm cutting off all this extra plastic that's going to get in the way later on. See there? The machines that make these pieces just leave a lot of extra burrs on the edges here, because this is where your pole is going to go through that hole there, so you want the poles to slide through nice and easy. You don't want it to cause problems later. And then the edges right there, you want the plastic roof tiles to not fit into those notches right there, to be notched nice and smooth. And the other side, just the same way. There's going to be roof tiles just as well on this side. That hole there is cleared out, so the pole slides through that hole later on down the line. And see there, the edges, all that extra plastic, that's just going to get in the way later on when you're putting the roof tiles down in there, snugging them into the notch. And then making sure there's all this extra plastic, as you can see there, that's blocking these holes. So then you're going to here, you see the little side view here on the video, but it's the side gable, and it's the one without the bar, so it's going to be on the side which gets no doors. So there's the 4 screws that are going to hold this together. You'll see I line the edges up nice and flush. I don't know if I've deburred this or not, but I can deburr it after I put it together or before each piece, doesn't matter. But this is where the 4 screws go. 1, 2, there's the 3rd one, boom, and the 4th one up at the top. And these 4 screws hold the 2 pieces, the left side and the right side, together, so it's one long gable. There you go. And that big circle is your vent hole, and it's going to get a vent screen and piece of plastic on there. But just noticed here some excess plastic that's probably going to get in the way later on with your roof pieces that are going to go up here. All that's just going to get in the way, and you're going to wonder, why is it not fitting into place? It's not coming snugging down into position because you got all this excess plastic in the way. So you want a nice snug tight fit, just like puzzle pieces, you know. If there's extra cardboard or paper on a puzzle piece, you want to slice it off so they all fit nice the way they're supposed to. And then here you see me boring out those holes. There's 5 holes where the little screw with a washer is going to come through there and hold on the screen. There's your vent piece of plastic that you put in, and you line those holes up with the ones that you just cleared out, and then the same with the screen. You put it on just like here, and here's my favorite trick. You line those holes up with that screen, and then just hold it with 2 fingers, boom, lift up, and then straight back down, boom. Those holes on that screen should be nice and lined up right over the holes, as you see there, where you're going to get a small screw with a washer on each one of those holes, and then it'll hold the vent on there with the screen all in one shot. If that screen is not lined up and you look through there and you see screen and you don't see the holes aren't lined up in the screen, it's a little bit off. When you put these screws in, like you just saw me, there's the first one, here's coming the second one, screw and a washer. When you put these in, if that screen's not lined up perfect, you're going to have, it's going to catch the screen, the screw is, when you put it in there, whether you're using a screwdriver or a drill gun set on low torque. Either way, it's going to twist that screen and mess it all up, and it's just very aggravating. So then you have to back out the screw and redo the process and make sure it's lined up perfect. But as you see there, I just did it nice and easy, one shot, and everything lines up perfectly when you do it that way. So next step here, this side gable is complete, except for I'm just cutting off the excess burrs here, excess plastic goop buildup, I call it. That's on the edges here, because this edge is going to sit on your top of your wall run, on the wall that's going to have like your shelf and no doors. And so you can see there the edges need to be clear of debris and clear of excess plastic that's going to get in the way from having it sit right down on the top of your wall run and snug fit the way it's supposed to go. And then these holes seem to be covered with plastic too, so I slicing the plastic out of those holes, just as you see there. It's part of my deburring video that I have. You just cut off all the excess plastic just where you see there, so it gets a nice smooth fit later on down the line when you put the gable up. Any kind of extra plastic you see that shouldn't be there, just slice it off. So you got a nice smooth fit, and then those holes, cleared those 3 holes out as well. There should be 3 on each side, 3 there, 3 on the other side that are going to drop down, and when you drop it into the top of your wall run, you're going to run screws through those holes, and it's going to fit snugly tight up against the top of your wall panels, all the way across the wall that has no doors. And the edges, they need to fit down as well, so as you can see here, I'm cleaning the edges. This is all part of another video I have. It says do this first, and it shows a lot of miscellaneous pieces that need to be deburred. So that's what they call it. So that end gable is pretty much ready to go. Here's a nice long strip. You saw me just slice that off. That's all excess plastic that's going to get in the way. So yeah, just when it looked like, okay, this piece is ready. Nope, there was this right here. Run my finger across the edge there, make it nice and flat so it sits flush. Cool, didn't miss that. Oh, and you can see there, boom, all that excess plastic, slice it all off so it's a nice snug fit later on. That's going to put you, you know, maybe 1/4 of an inch maybe sometimes, or 1/8 of an inch off. It's going to be lifting it off. You're going to be wondering, why is it not sitting down on the top of your wall run perfectly? Because you got all that extra plastic buildup that's not letting it come down. Here's this edge right here, boom, slicing off excess plastic on this edge, and then you can see that hole right there. It should be a hole, but there's plastic covering up, so I'll have to cut these 3 holes and open them up so that screws can go in there later on. So then that one's completed, and then here's your entry gable for the side doors, because it's the large size, one piece, and there you see me jamming right through it, clearing those 5 holes where your vent's going to fit. Then I place the vent, turn it a little bit, line up the holes perfectly. Make sure these holes are lined up perfectly on your screen, and then I put 2 fingers down there holding it, bingo, lift it up, lift it or push it right back down, and the holes look like they're lined up perfectly. That's why it's one of my favorite tricks here. Put a small screw with a washer on, and then zip that first one, and then there's 4 more, 3 there at the top that you see, and then that last one at the bottom on the other side. I usually go across to cross, similar to lugs on a tire. When you're tightening lugs on a rim on a tire on a car, you just crisscross it like star shape, just back and forth across the sides. And then here is your entry bar, header bar is what they call it for the doors. Get a small one and a large one. We just did the small one a minute ago. Here is the large one, and you can see this hole to the right side when you're drilling this on there, and you can see the little grooves. The instructions tell you to put it on, I guess, the other way. I like to flip it this way because the deadbolts, over time, they get a little loose at the top, and if they slide down, you want them to catch. You got a little bit extra, and plus these screws are easier to put in, a lot easier to put in when you do it this way. And it actually holds better. So as you can see, this one gets 3 on each side, similar to the one we just did, the small entry gable. The bar is attached on the right, and now I'm over to the left side putting in the 3 screws there, and I make sure I'm pushing it flat on the ground and the bar pushing it flat against the gable, so everything's connected. There's no space in between, and that way the screw goes in first time nice and snug. And you want to have your drill gun set on low torque, just in case. You don't want to use a drill with high torque and then just keep spinning and strip out the plastic. That would be bad. So yeah, always have your drill torque set on low if you're using a drill. If you do this with a number 3 Phillips tip on those screws, then that's fine. Here is just takes a little bit longer by hand because you're turning the screwdriver, but here is the more of the deburring, and just like the other one, clear all those deburrs and it should fit snugly on your entry later on down the line. Alright guys, thanks for watching another RubberToe Assembly video on your Gables. Over and out. Cheers.